This time, it's a story about a cheating wife and her lover being cornered by the protagonist husband's top-notch lawyer. Take your time and enjoy the story. At that time, I was 29 years old and self-employed, my wife was 33 years old and working part-time, my son was 6 years old. And the affair partner was 31 years old and a salaried middle manager. It all started when my wife started going to more company drinking parties, coming home after 4 a.m. from these parties, and on that particular day, instead of going straight to bed after coming home from the party as usual, she immediately took a shower and went to sleep. After making sure my wife was asleep, I peeked at her phone and found a large number of emails from the past 3 days. So I switched her to a needs monitoring status. After that, the company drinking parties continued at a pace of once a week. Originally, my wife was an extremely heavy drinker, while I was a weakling who could only drink 1 beer. So I was totally fine with her going to drinking parties, thinking it was a way for her to relieve stress and whatnot. The company drinking parties continued at a pace of once a week, but then a mom from the kindergarten our son attends complained to me, "Hey, I suddenly got an email the other day saying, I have a company drinking party at my part-time job and my husband can't come home right away due to overtime. So I need you to watch my son. What's going on with you guys?" And that mom had a message for my wife to get her act together. And I hadn't thought she was leaving our child alone to go to drinking parties, and even I thought it was going too far, so I made a request like, "It's fine for you to go to work drinking parties, but if it looks like you won't be able to pick up our child, it's a given that our child comes first for us, so I want you to use some discretion." My wife seemed to accept this, so I considered the matter resolved for the time being. My wife's behavior had improved compared to before, with her coming home before the date changed, so I felt reassured. Looking back now, I was really let my guard down. I, the fool, left her unattended for about a year. I felt a slight sense of foreboding when I saw my wife who had fallen asleep in the middle of typing on her phone. So, before the summer vacation, I participated in a father's group get-together from the kindergarten and came home late at night. And after confirming that my wife had completely fallen asleep, I peeked at her phone for the first time in a little over a year. While the emails were gray last time, this time there were a lot of pitch-black emails. I immediately forwarded all 200 sent and received emails to my own phone. When I carefully checked the contents, although the timing varied, it was revealed that she had a total of 5 affair partners. In that moment, my hard-working wife transformed into mere filth in my mind. With claims against 5 people each, you're quite the tycoon, aren't you? After checking the email details once, I read through them again, and while the timing varied, only the last one, hereafter abbreviated as E, was still ongoing. There were descriptions suggesting she had unprotected sex with the one just before that D, but objectively, there's a high possibility it could be argued as gray. For the others from A to C, while it can be inferred with certainty that they kissed, the content is quite dubious as to whether they went all the way, and it seems like only D and E could be targeted. Which made me feel even more depressed. By the way, my wife had previously confessed to me, actually, sex is painful for me, so I figured if sex was painful for her, it was fine to have a sexless marriage. I thought we could still have a proper marriage even without sex, so I didn't find it particularly odd when we entered a sexless lifestyle. That's why I never dreamed she was having an affair. Since discovering the affair, I developed complete insomnia and could only sleep for about an hour a day. But at that time, I was half crazed, thinking, I can check her phone as much as I want after confirming she's asleep every night. And monitoring her every night. Since she was currently continuing the affair with E, hereafter referred to as the affair partner, I was frantically searching for a cheap and reliable private investigation agency to hire on the day they were planning to have sex next. Pathetically, I had handed over all the bank books to my wife, so I had no savings I could use freely. But to think the woman I trusted so much was having an affair. By the way, in my mind, I had already decided to divorce her the moment I found out about the affair. However, I desperately wanted to get custody of our child. I had researched online and knew that getting custody of a young child would be difficult in court. So I continued to think about how I could get custody while punishing my wife and her affair partner. At the same time, I sent out an SOS to 2 of my particularly close friends from high school, Y and Z. Y was a guy with a strong sense of loyalty, and he had encouraged me and sometimes scolded me when I consulted him about marital fights in the past. So I trusted him a lot. Z was a carefree guy, but by chance, he's an assistant office manager at a law firm by association. First, I called the passionate why, prepared to be lectured with something like, "It's fine for you to separate. But what are you going to do about your child?" I explained the situation and mentioned that I had been suffering from insomnia for a week, and unexpectedly, he fiercely encouraged me, saying, "Are you really okay right now? Are you eating properly?" If I lived nearby, I would rush over right away, but due to my job transfer, I can't return there yet, so I'm sorry I can't help. If you need to establish a new childcare record for custody or something, I'll talk to my wife. So feel free to take your child and come stay with us anytime. I broke down crying on the spot. In the end, I didn't need to take refuge with them, but I'm truly grateful to Y and his wife for that time. I'll never forget this favor. After that, I called Z, who works at a law firm, and similarly explained the situation. I had previously heard that the law firm Z works at specializes in corporate law. So I asked Z to introduce me to a lawyer who was skilled in divorce lawsuits. And he introduced me to a lawyer who was truly experienced in divorce consultations. So I immediately called the law firm. They promptly connected me to the lawyer. I explained the situation to the lawyer, including that custody is non-negotiable for me, and they said, "I understand. First, please email me the evidence you have. I will thoroughly examine the contents by the day after tomorrow when you can come here. Let's decide on the strategy then." So, 2 days later, I went to the law firm and met the lawyer face to face for the first time. Huh? They seemed quite young compared to their voice on the phone. Oh. Did I make a mistake? I felt a hint of unease. But as I continued to talk with the lawyer, I realized this was the person I wanted to entrust everything to. First of all, I reviewed the emails you sent the other day, and with this content, we can win the divorce lawsuit 100%. Emails are said to have weak evidentiary power, but that's because the content tends to become abstract. However, the emails you secured are completely incriminating, so they're totally done. And as you said, for affair partners A through C, it will be difficult to officially prove guilt unless the other party confesses. Affair partner D can be held accountable, but there's a high possibility they will adamantly deny it. So it will be tough with the current evidence. You mentioned you're currently looking for a private investigation agency, but if you only want to hold the current affair partner accountable, I don't think a private investigation agency is necessary. Affair partner E is married with children and owns a home. In that case, everything will be settled without going to trial. Retainer fee? Considering that you were referred by Mr. Z. If we're going to bet on this content, no retainer fee is needed. Depending on the final settlement, if it's settled for $20,000, the total will be $6,000 to $7,000. Of course, we'll do it with payment after everything is finished. Don't worry about the costs at all. For now, let's prioritize finalizing the divorce, including obtaining custody. I thought since it was the first meeting, we would only discuss costs. But in reality, the lawyer even thought through strategies with me for when I negotiate with the affair partner. Given your child's current age, it would be quite difficult for you to get custody if it goes to trial. But let's think of a strategy together to cleverly impose conditions and obtain custody through a consensual divorce. If you phrase it like this here, they will likely respond like this, so try rephrasing it like this. Okay, one more time. Yep, this should probably work. In the actual negotiation, such harsh rebuttals likely won't come up. And it'll wrap up smoothly at our pace with them going, so you don't need to be so stiff about it. After such an intensive session, spending time with me from early morning until past noon, the lawyer said, "Sorry. I do need to charge a small amount under the pretext of a legal consultation, but since you're an acquaintance of Mr. Z, how about $100 total for today's portion and as insurance for an additional consultation in case the consensual divorce gets complicated?" What an unexpectedly generous and conscientious price. Of course, I gladly paid. As I was leaving the office, the lawyer said, "Sir, to tell you the truth, I have a child around the same age as you. So the fact that your wife was having an affair is something I personally cannot forgive either. I actually thought you looked a bit scary at first glance, but after actually talking with you like this today, your kindness and sincere personality really came through, so I'm personally relieved too. But, you are too kind to your wife. It's an exaggeration, but from now on, you'll be at war with your wife. In that context, your excessive kindness will only hold you back. So just this once, you need to become dry enough to be called heartless. Otherwise, as you're worried about, your son might be abused by your wife. If you have any troubles, feel free to contact me on my phone, even in the middle of the night. Don't try to take it all on alone and do something reckless, okay? The moment I heard that, I forgot that there were two pretty young receptionists nearby and broke down crying on the spot again. Having met a compatible lawyer, I gained a bit of leeway in my heart. I decided to narrow down my enemies to my wife and her current affair partner and negotiate with them. First, I proceed with the divorce negotiation with my wife. X day arrived. I asked an acquaintance to watch our child and took my wife to a nearby coffee shop. Without showing the actual evidence, I matter-of-factly confronted her with the facts and brought up the topic of divorce. Not showing the actual evidence was something I had decided in the previous strategy meeting with the lawyer. So, I gathered documents showing that it would be more beneficial for me to raise our son, and regarding child support, I proposed not requesting any until our son enters elementary school. I also appealed to my wife that I would not explicitly state anything about visitation with our son, meaning I would not restrict it, and had her sign the divorce papers stating that I would have custody, after getting her to agree to it. Regarding child support, she said she didn't want to be unable to see our son in the future. So she wanted me to have her start paying when he's in 3rd grade. As for alimony, she said she barely has any money on hand right now. The very last thing we argued about was money. So, I matter-of-factly negotiated the settlement like this: 1. If we can reach an agreement with the affair partner without arguing about money, I won't take any alimony from my wife. 2. If she continues paying child support after the obligation starts until our son turns 20, I'll completely waive the alimony. However, if the child support payments fall behind at any point, the alimony payment obligation will take effect. 3. We can make it a notarized document, but if we do, my wife has to bear the full cost of that. But the only one who benefits from making it a notarized document is me. And with that, it ended. After that, I parted with my wife and headed to the city hall. I submitted the divorce papers. Well then, I guess I'll go pick up my son and head home? As I exited the city hall, the lawyer unexpectedly appeared. Your negotiation was perfect. Why don't you have a legal professional qualification? With those skills, you could be an immediate asset at our firm, they said, giving me the highest words of praise. That's right, I hadn't noticed at all, but the lawyer had secretly come to the coffee shop where the discussion was held, ready to join immediately in case the discussion went south, and apparently they were right behind me the whole time without me noticing. This discussion itself was unpaid, so I frankly asked why they went to such lengths for me, and they said, my evening plans got cancelled at the last minute. It's literally just to kill time. Besides, you have a big negotiation waiting after this, right? If I grasp the negotiation content with my own eyes and ears, I myself can negotiate with the other party assertively. And if your wife adamantly denies it and you get stuck, I can immediately lend a hand, right? Anyway, with this, you've narrowed your enemy down to just Mr. E. This is thanks to you smoothly negotiating with your wife today. I don't think I'll be able to attend the first negotiation with Mr. E due to scheduling, so please somehow manage to get through it at this pace. And make sure to absolutely never get emotionally heated, okay? What a reliable lawyer. But I also thought, I definitely don't want to make an enemy out of this person. And a few days passed. The day of the first one-on-one meeting with the affair partner arrived. I scheduled it for a weekday evening and designated the location as a coffee shop 1 station away from the affair partner's workplace. That evening, I also informed the lawyer that I would be holding a settlement negotiation at the above location at 8 p.m. It might be a bit early, but after leaving my son with the acquaintance that evening, I arrived at the location an hour in advance. The reason I arrived a full hour early was as a countermeasure in case the affair partner brought a suspicious person to the negotiation. The plan was to arrive early, and if the affair partner showed up accompanied by a suspicious person, I would cancel at the last minute. First, I checked the surroundings to see if there were any suspicious people, then entered the coffee shop where the negotiation would take place. Then, 30 minutes prior, I suddenly got a call from the lawyer. Hello? Sir, I finished another RDV earlier than planned and just arrived at the station nearest to the negotiation location. Where are you right now? I'm already at the coffee shop where the negotiation will be. Huh? You came? They're rushing over here like crazy. I'll explain the details later. Anyway, I'm heading over there now. What do you want to drink? Iced coffee. Got it. And with that, it unexpectedly changed to a three-way meeting. After getting the iced coffee and taking a seat, the lawyer arrived shortly after. And we started chatting. What's going on? I just got a bit worried. About the amount? A little. Just kidding. Anyone would get worried after seeing your face during the initial consultation, right? Thanks. After this is over, come with me to my regular spot nearby. I already made a reservation. Did you know I have a late start at work tomorrow? I'm off tomorrow. Let me go home by the last train, okay? Okay. Well then, shall we quickly do today's preliminary meeting? Yes. You don't have to talk. A dad who loves his child so much would probably cry and the discussion wouldn't go anywhere. Oh, I guess so. I'll make a little time for you to speak at the end. But keep it under 30 characters, okay? Just kidding. I was talking with the lawyer until the affair partner arrived, but 5 minutes before the meeting time, I got an email from the affair partner. Sorry, I'll be 30 minutes late. Around 15 minutes past the revised time, the affair partner showed up alone. He was surprised to see someone else with me, and even more surprised when that person handed him a business card. At this point, we had completely taken control of the pace. First, the lawyer's turn. We are deeply sorry for causing this situation. Have you looked into this situation a bit on your end, Mr. Affair Partner? Yes. As you know from when he called you the other day, your actions with his wife constitute a tort. Yes. This man has already gotten divorced due to this matter. Regarding his new residence after the divorce, he desperately searched and found a property. All that's left is to complete the necessary renovations for living there, and then he'll move. He says, "Huh? You already found a place?" Since he's self-employed, he has various acquaintances due to the nature of his work. Naturally, that includes real estate agents too. Ah. I see. I'm sure you understand, but now that it's come to this, you must atone to him with utmost sincerity. I fully understand. Sincerity in this situation, especially as adults, frankly comes down to resolving it financially. Yes. Because of you too, he was forced to get divorced. And his son has been deeply scarred emotionally too. Furthermore, he developed severe insomnia due to this matter. Here is the medical certificate. I see. Therefore, we would like you, Mr. Affair Partner, to pay this amount in a lump sum. Can you agree to that here? The lawyer hands the notification document they prepared to the affair partner. What? This much? This is a bit. I'm sorry. I can't give an immediate answer, so could you allow me to take this home and consider it? Yes, that's fine. It's a significantly higher amount than I expected. The content was a claim for damages of $25,000 to the affair partner for the tort of joint illegal acts. Well, I mostly prepared it and had the lawyer make some slight revisions. So, how much did you think it would be? Around $10,000, I thought. That's not even worth discussing, is it? I'll take this home, thoroughly examine the content, and sincerely inform you of the payment amount. Hey affair partner, how much are you trying to haggle here after coming? This isn't a discount shop. I understand for today. Also, he says there's something he really wants to say to you, so could we have a bit more of your time? Yes. That's fine. Well then, go ahead. Okay. Mr. Affair Partner, sorry, I'm not good with this formal stuff, so I'm going to speak pretty casually, is that okay? Yes. I don't mind. You said on the phone the other day that you have 3 kids, right? 5, 3, and 1 years old? Yes. That's right. Your oldest child is a girl, right? Yes, it goes daughter, son, son from oldest to youngest. You know, my son is in the same grade as your daughter. Yes. Does your wife know about the affair? No, I don't think she's found out yet. Then, as long as you and I keep quiet, your family won't fall apart, right? Yes. But you know, my family is already broken. It will never go back to how it used to be, you know? My child will never be able to spend time with his mother again. The affair partner made a very guilty face. But I was desperate to make sure he understood. Your kids, since you're so busy with work and come home late, your wife is the one usually taking care of them, right? Yes. In my case, my son's mother will never come to pick him up anymore. When my son wants to be coddled, his mother won't be able to hug him anymore. You're the one responsible for stealing my son's mother away from him, do you get that? Yes. If you wrap up this discussion smoothly here, your family won't fall apart too. I'm so sorry. You're a father, aren't you? Instead of wasting time and money on another woman, spend even a little time taking care of your kids. You have 3 kids, right? It must be hard for your wife to raise them. Whether it's 1 kid or 3 kids, you have to look after all of them equally. You know? Your wife is desperately raising 3 kids, but with a husband like this, her efforts won't be rewarded. Yes, you're absolutely right. Promise me this right now. Your family must never find out about this, got it? If your family finds out too, your household might fall apart just like mine. My son has already been hurt enough by our broken family. Before I knew it, I was bawling. I didn't realize I was this much of a crybaby. I mean, looking back on it like this, I was a complete wimp. Around this point, the lawyer stepped in, and the initial negotiation ended. From the next negotiation onward, it shifted to discussions between my lawyer and the affair partner, and I was left out of the loop. You're quite capable. You should give your ex-wife a piece of your mind too. I don't know if I'm capable or not. I started reading threads like this after the settlement was reached, and seeing them, even just financially, I really think I was spineless. He's a good guy. But too much of a good guy. And he cries too much. It seems like as soon as I turned 30, I suddenly became a crybaby. Also, there are a few single mother households around me, and when I play with their kids a bit while picking up my son, they all get attached and I end up frolicking with the kids, including my son, for nearly 30 minutes. At those times, the kids from single mother families occasionally show a lonely face, you know? They all give off this aura like I actually want to live with both mom and dad, but it seems impossible now but it can't be helped. So we'll do our best. Now, I feel really sorry for putting my son through the same thing, but I have absolutely no desire to live with my ex-wife again. And if she has even an average amount of love for our son, I honestly want her to contribute in other ways. It's like, if she says, I want to but I can't, then I want her to put in the maximum effort in what she can do, I guess. 2 weeks after the initial negotiation, I got a call from the lawyer. Hello, about the affair partner, it's not very good news. Did something happen? It seems the other party knows quite a bit about our plans. Did you by any chance tell your ex-wife anything? I don't think so. Oh, maybe it was the PC email. What do you mean? The emails I exchanged with you up until the initial negotiation were from a free address on my PC. It's a shared PC, so maybe she snooped? That's possible. Then let's communicate via mobile address from now on. I'm sorry, please do. It seems my ex-wife is still in contact with the affair partner, and our strategy has been completely leaked. Even after all this, she's still in contact with him and leaking information to give them the upper hand. By the way, the strategy involved using the affair partner's home. The affair partner had purchased a newly built house with a mortgage a few years ago. So if the affair partner took a disrespectful attitude, the plan was to provisionally seize the mortgage at the court. Rat him out to the financial institution he has the mortgage contract with. And also provisionally seize his entire salary and bonus from his workplace. If that happened, it would likely violate the contract terms between the financial institution and the affair partner, voiding his mortgage contract and requiring him to pay the remaining balance to the financial institution in a lump sum. They could also seize the house and auction it off, but if we preemptively provisionally seize it, they won't be able to make a move either. So either way, the affair partner would have to pay the remaining balance to the financial institution in a lump sum, and on top of that, he wouldn't be able to withdraw living expenses. That was the strategy. I let my guard down. If the strategy has been leaked, we need to make a move too. 1. If the settlement agreement can be reached with the affair partner without monetary disputes, I won't take alimony from my wife. You made her promise that, right? The fact that it leaked means there's a problem with reaching the settlement agreement, so I need to demand alimony from my wife. I strongly agree. Alimony claims against the wife have arisen. No more holding back, corner them. I have a request. Can you quickly prepare around $500? $500? It's possible, but why? The affair partner is looking down on you, thinking you urgently need moving expenses. Frankly, he's underestimating you. To be specific, he's saying he can only pay up to $12,000. That's the extent of his sincerity. He's telling me to agree to that. He's speaking in a condescending tone. Normally, he should be humbly negotiating with me, asking, could you possibly reduce the consolation money a bit, given his position, right? If he maintains this disrespectful attitude next time too, I'll send a content-certified mail and immediately file a damages lawsuit. I'm getting fed up too. I'll make sure to protect your desired amount, so let's socially annihilate him. I was quite pissed off hearing that too, but the Bar Association is completely furious. The next morning, I visited the law firm and entrusted the lawyer with the money needed for the lawsuit's revenue stamps. But I don't have much cash on hand right now, so I can't come up with enough funds to sustain a lawsuit, you know? You don't need a penny. You're in a position to receive 100% of the consolation money. So we'll offset it with the consolation money paid by the other party once the judgment is rendered. The offset fees at that time can be 20%. That's fine. I'll be getting a call from them this afternoon for another negotiation, so depending on their response, I'll send a content-certified mail today demanding payment. Then, if the transfer isn't confirmed within a week, I'll file a lawsuit with the court the day after the deadline. The lawyer seemed quite angry at the affair partner's attitude and was trying to thoroughly crush him even more than I was. This means death is now certain. I'm currently investigating the financial institution the affair partner has his mortgage contract with. Well, it should be clear before the lawsuit is filed. That evening, I got a call from the lawyer. It seems he maintained his disrespectful attitude, so as declared, the lawyer broke off negotiations and immediately sent a content-certified mail. Now, the real war begins. A week later, I got a call from the lawyer. The other party has hired a lawyer. We'll return to negotiations, but since it will be a discussion between professionals, it won't take a month to resolve. Please bear with it a little longer. Got it. Thank you. Another week later. You never physically abused your ex-wife, right? No, impossible. I mean, if anything, I was the one getting beat up. That's the kind of information you should tell me from the start. I'm sorry. The other party's lawyer has also started defending your ex-wife. But that's a violation of the Attorney Act. What is their lawyer thinking? And according to your ex-wife, I had been suffering domestic violence from my ex-husband for a long time. My mother knows this too. Our marital relationship had already broken down due to my ex-husband's DV, and we were even living separately within the house. Therefore, I have no obligation to pay consolation money. I was in a state of confusion when the divorce was finalized and ended up giving him custody. But our son is still a preschooler, so it's appropriate for me to have custody. Living separately in a 2DK apartment. The lawyers for the affair partner and ex-wife seem to be having a hard time too. And on top of that, her mother is actually. I used to live in a 2DK that also served as my office, with the 1DK portion as the residence and the remaining room as the office and storage space. We'll completely crush the countersuit from the affair partner and your ex-wife, but please be careful of one thing. What's that? Closely coordinate with the kindergarten and ward office to avoid having your child abducted. There's a possibility your ex-wife, and maybe even your ex-mother-in-law, might try to take him. Understood. I'll explain the situation to the kindergarten tonight and have them be on alert. After crushing their countersuit, if we hint at a provisional seizure, they will undoubtedly fold. Just a little more patience, really. Got it. I hadn't considered child abduction. I realized those two might actually do it. I'm truly grateful to the lawyer. Your wife's crew is crazy. It's best to refrain from visitation with your son. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the lawyer. The settlement has been reached. Oh? Seriously? Thank you. So, about the agreed amount. Due to joint tort liability, it ended up being $20,000. I'm sorry I couldn't get $25,000. Getting $20,000 is great, isn't it? That's fine. So, we'll be drafting a settlement agreement between you, your ex-wife, and the affair partner. To avoid problems if they fabricate claims about DV and whatnot later, we'll include a clause stating with this agreement. No debts or credits exist between the parties going forward. And regarding the custody issue, to avoid it being rehashed and causing a headache, we'll explicitly state it again in this settlement document. So the agreement I signed with my ex-wife is void? No way. Definitely don't void it. Having two agreements will hold great significance for you in the future. By explicitly stating custody and parental authority go to you in both the first and second agreements. The first one acknowledges that custody equals you. The second one reaffirms that custody equals you. Which means, even if your ex-wife tries to overturn the fact that you have custody, it will become an extraordinarily high hurdle for her. I see. In other words, even if your ex-wife raises issues about custody again, unless there's an extremely serious fault on your end, the possibility of her winning, even in court, is close to zero. Oh wow! It's a complete victory. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Another week later. The amount, minus the lawyer's fee, was deposited from the law firm. However, I had borrowed money from my parents and was juggling various expenses for moving and other preparations. So most of what went into my account was repayment to my parents. The amount I could actually use freely was around $1,000. In other words, the real consolation money for me was $1,000. That's the gist of how it went from discovering the affair to divorce to claiming consolation money. The alcohol you drink with that must taste extraordinary. From here on, there's no brilliant producer, so the content gets quite sloppy and thin. After that, I would meet or not meet my ex-wife about once every 3 to 4 months. However, I never let her meet our son alone, as I still can't completely dispel the concern about abduction. By the way, how did your wife react when her affair was exposed? She completely froze. She must have been sure I had no idea. The above was the story of a man who won custody in collaboration with a lawyer. By the way, neglecting childcare to attend drinking parties and such could potentially constitute neglect, and in that case, it would greatly impact obtaining custody. Furthermore, neglect is a violation of the Child Abuse Prevention Act. Although there are no penalties for neglect itself, recording the wife's neglect makes it easier for the husband to obtain custody, which is usually difficult.